Well, good afternoon, everybody. I'm delighted to be here in Athens today. My hometown is Edinburgh, which is known as the Athens of the North. And as Britain is preparing itself for a series of crippling public sector strikes tomorrow, I know which Athens I would rather be in, and it's certainly this beautiful city full of sunshine. So thank you for the opportunity to talk about corporate responsibility. Corporate responsibility at Betfair is a very important matter. My boss, Martin Cruddas, who spoke this morning, was very modest. He has built up in Betfair an extremely incredible and powerful series of initiatives and put staff in place whose sole purpose is to ensure that we do things the right way, that we take a lead and are an example to others on sporting integrity, keeping money laundering out of our activities and terrorist financing, and ensuring that we keep our customers safe and enjoying an experience of gambling, which is their right to do. I think conferences like this give us the opportunity to really move forward with gambling understanding, and the understanding of the governance of gambling, in fact. It isn't just about setting regulation and leaving it. We must keep talking to each other. And it's critical that the industry, regulators, policymakers all come together to talk about how gambling can be better governed in the broadest sense of governance. What is critical to this is evidence-based regulation. And our company is committed to finding the right evidence that will help not just us to protect our customers better, but to offer that scientific evidence to regulators so that they can regulate more effectively as well. There is very little meaningful gambling regulation happening in the world. And actually, our company is at the leading edge of some of this research, which is going to make an enormous difference and will answer many of the questions that Herr Kreutzmann has identified just now and have already been talked about this morning as key issues for us all as we think about liberalizing, opening up gambling markets. I want to focus on one small aspect of our research, but here you get a flavor of the different types of research activity that our company is engaged in. We are working with some of the leading academic bodies in the world on critical issues which will help us determine how best to protect our customers. We're looking at mood and how that affects gambling behavior. We're looking at memory and how knowing how much you've won or lost, what your balance is, how this can be done effectively in order to safeguard customers. We're looking at predicting self-exclusion, and we've got some very good analytics developers working with us on this very topic. The fourth one here is what I want to talk about in a few minutes. But just to mention, this last point 5 is a very critical area and will be informed by the research I'm going to share with you. We need to know how to talk to customers, how to explain to them how to use the protection tools that are available. You can't just give a customer a page of policy. You need to engage with the customer in a way that he or she is really going to understand and take notice of. So, let's talk about self-exclusion, which is a critical area for EU and for individual jurisdictions. It's talked about in all the regulations. We engaged NatCen to look at self-exclusion. NatCen do the national prevalence studies in UK for us, a reputable research organization. And they discovered for us why people self-exclude. Now, nobody has ever researched this area before. This is the first time that anyone has looked at the reasons why people exclude from gambling websites anywhere in the world. There has been research into casino-based exclusion, but never into this area. No surprises, most people exclude because they're worried about the amount of money that they're spending. and to a much lesser extent, time, wanting to spend more time with family and so on. They've maybe done it by mistake. A wide variety of other reasons, but predominantly it's this issue of too much money. What are they like, the people who exclude? Now, I must point out here that there's a very tiny number of people who actually exclude from our website and I guess other gambling websites as well. In terms of the total number of customers that we have and active people playing, this is a very, very, very small number. However, this is a vulnerable group of people, and this research has shown us just how vulnerable they are. Mostly, they're younger people. They're under the age of 34. They do a lot of different types of gambling activity. They've got high volumes, and they're losing. Interestingly, the bullet point just before the end there, they are excluding from lots of different websites, not just ours, which is why regulators really need to understand this better, and this is where our research will help. This is why having the facility to exclude from lots of different websites, not just one at a time, is critically important for consumer protection. But this last finding was the finding that surprised us, and I think should be of great concern to regulators in the future, is that this small group of people who take that last resort step of excluding, they're very vulnerable. They are either problem gamblers already, so they've got an established addiction, or they're in danger of becoming so. So we must protect these people and stop them going so far that they feel they need to exclude. We must help them before it gets to that point. So what are we doing about it? Well, we're now beginning to look at how we can improve the communication that we have with our customers to let them know about what is a very impressive range of tools that we have on our website to protect them. They can limit the amount of time and the amount of money that they spend on the site. They can limit their losses. They can limit the amount of money they deposit. The principle is that the customer must decide for him or herself what the best limit is. We can help them to make an informed choice about their gambling, and that is absolutely critical in consumer protection. There are other ways we can use our technology, and this is just beginning to be explored now as a result of this very fresh new research. We're looking at how we can engage with that demographic profile of people who are in danger of self-excluding and give them messages which they will understand and be able to relate to. There are considerations for policymakers, clearly, and we very much welcome a dialogue with policymakers and regulators on these areas. So it looks as if from our research, and these are small samples of 200-odd people, but nevertheless, this is a beginning which opens up the way for more research to validate these findings. It looks as if self-excluding is a proxy for problem gambling, for gambling addiction. So regulators need to think about how they can encourage more operators to use this and have a joined-up approach to self-exclusion on websites, and indeed in any gambling setting, land-based as well, critically important, because those players will be gambling not just online, they'll be gambling in shops and arcades and casinos. Illegal operators are never going to bother about protecting people. Legal operators in a properly regulated market will. That's what we do. That's what we take pride in. And lastly, just to repeat the point, I think it's critically important that you're able, as a customer, to exclude from any website you want to with one click of the mouse, with one telephone call. It's done. That is the sort of move we need to make in Europe in order to adequately protect our consumers. So I hope I've shown you in a few brief minutes what companies like ours can actually do to protect consumers, our technology, our commitment to research, our commitment to governance of gambling puts us in a really advantageous position to help and really make this pastime an enjoyable one for everyone. And lastly, gambling governance is critical to going forward. I welcome conferences like this and hope to come back in the future where we can explore further how we can protect consumers. The important thing is that we keep talking to each other, regulators, policymakers, academics, clinicians who are working with gambling addicts. We all need fora where we can come together and really consider what is best, what works to protect consumers. Thank you very much indeed.